Welcome to our introduction to Core Competencies. We're happy you're interested in learning about ways to enhance your skills in supporting people with developmental disabilities to live fulfilling lives in our community. If you are a student, new employee, family member who employs a direct support professional, a supervisor, manager, or leader working in developmental services, this module is for you. Once you have completed the module, you should understand the 10 core competencies and be able to assess your own competencies and form a development plan. For background information about the development of core competencies, check out the backgrounder document available on this website. We also strongly encourage you to review the intentions document to support your understanding of the intention of core competency implementation. To get started, take a minute and picture the most inspirational person you know or have met. When you think of this person, how would you describe them? Make a list of the characteristics or behaviors this person exhibits that contributes to them being an inspirational person. For example, I picture Quinn, a supervisor I had many years ago. Quinn was a great coach, listener, collaborator, and taught me the importance of advocating and helped me really grow in my career. Do you have your list? By creating your list, you are starting to think about what competencies or behaviors drive superior performance, which is what we are talking about in this module. Upon completion of this module, you should be able to identify the characteristics of a competency, become familiar with the 10 core competencies, understand the growth stages, and be ready to start your own self-assessment for each competency. Before we explore the core competencies, you need to understand what a competency is. A competency is any skill, knowledge, behavior, or other personal characteristic that drives superior performance in a job role. Competencies are what outstanding performers do more often, in more situations, and with better results than typical performers. Identifying, developing, and demonstrating your core competencies is what really makes a difference on the job. They provide a consistent framework for you to clearly identify what is expected of you. As an employer or supervisor, core competencies are an objective tool for assessing candidates and employee performance. This can help you provide more focused coaching to direct reports. It may be helpful to think of core competencies as part of the performance equation. First, we start with the what, which refers to the tasks that we do as part of our job. For example, administering medication. Then we add the how, the behaviors used to achieve the task. For example, does the person who is administering medication consider how to foster independence as part of facilitating growth and development by engaging the person they support? Do they show initiative as part of strategic planning by identifying potential challenges that might occur and take steps to address them ahead of time? Together, the what and the how result in successful performance. So successful performance results from a combination of not just the what we do, but how we do it, the competencies we apply on the job. If you think about two people in the same role, one a superior performer and the other average, it's their behaviors that separate the superior performer. As you go through this training, think about times you have seen these competencies demonstrated and how the use of the competency resulted in superior performance. There are two types of competencies, technical and behavioral. Technical competencies are the skills and knowledge required to do the job. They are the what you need to know to do a task, the qualifications for a position. For example, understanding the various policies and procedures that apply to your role. Role-specific credentials, such as first aid and medication administration procedures. Behavioral competencies are the behaviors a person demonstrates in performing a job. They are the how an individual approaches their work. We call these behavioral competencies, which are core competencies, and they are what this module will focus on. Performance is driven by a number of factors. One of the easiest ways to describe these factors is by thinking of an iceberg. What we see above the waterline are skills and knowledge, the technical competencies. Skills are the things a person knows how to do well. For example, medication administration. Knowledge is what a person knows about a particular topic. For example, basic principles related to the safe management and prevention of aggressive behaviors. Skills and knowledge are easy to see and identify, easier to develop, and essential to perform the job, but they rarely predict or drive outstanding performance. They are often what one can see on a resume. Below the waterline are the other factors related to performance and are the key drivers of behavior or performance. They can be harder to see in someone. However, they are critically important as they tend to drive people's long-term behavior and thus their long-term performance. They help determine whether someone is well matched with their job. The better the match, the more effective and satisfied a person will be in carrying out what the job requires. Below the waterline, we also see 4 personal characteristics. Number 1, values. What a person believes is important. For example, if a person has an attitude or value that supporting people is important, that person may be driven to provide better support more often than someone else who doesn't feel the same way. Number 2, self-image, the way a person sees themselves, or the inner self. For example, seeing oneself as a teacher or a leader. For another example, some doctors may see themselves as experts and focus on how much they know about a particular specialty. Others may see themselves as helpers, focusing on what they can do for others. Number 3, traits. Fundamental characteristics of a person's behavior, like being a good listener and caring. For example, someone may consistently demonstrate the trait of self-control when confronted. Someone else may show a consistent concern for detail. A person's traits may be very helpful in a job, especially when the job requirements match a person's traits. Number 4, motives. The non-conscious things a person consistently thinks about or wants that motivates them to take action. For example, a person may be highly achievement-oriented, and this may drive their performance on the job, always striving to improve performance and achieve results. Or a person may be motivated by affiliation or friendship, and this may drive their performance because the job involves collaboration. So at this point, you may be wondering, can core competencies be developed? The answer is yes. All competencies can be learned and developed over time. It's typically easier to develop these skills and knowledge that are above the waterline, so it's critical to focus on behavioral competencies during the recruitment and selection process. Again, while the technical competencies are critical to get in the door, it's the core or behavioral competencies that will lead to success once in a position. The core competencies are presented in growth stages to facilitate professional development. This supports continuous growth throughout the employee's career. Each competency has 4 stages. Number 1, emerging, where the focus is on building self-awareness and reflection on your own behavior. The person develops through applying the core competency in a way that promotes positive change within themselves. They demonstrate an understanding of why the competency matters through sharing examples, their actions, and by initiating or seeking out active engagement in learning and self-development. Number 2 is the evolving stage. This is where there is intentional self-growth in valuing others' perspectives. They exhibit the competency consistently in more than one context and promote positive opportunities for change in others. The person takes responsibility and ownership of their behavior and growth. They value the perspectives of others and encourages them to engage in competency development as well. Number 3 is the leading stage, where we see coaching, mentoring, and leading others in system-level thinking. They demonstrate confidence in the application of the competency, which enables them to exercise it effectively and in various situations. The individual shows system-level thinking and leadership and consistently acts as an agent of change. They are seen as a role model or coach and can mentor and lead others in the use of this competency. And finally, number 4 is the influencing stage. There is an in-depth understanding and utilization of the competency as a driver of change within the organizations and community. They demonstrate an in-depth mastery of the competency. At this level, they are highly respected and recognized as an influencer or expert in applying the competency. So let's explore what a competency looks like. We can use the competency advocacy as an example. Each core competency includes the following key components. 1, a definition of what it means. The definition captures the essence of the competency and ensures everyone has a consistent understanding of what the competency means. This competency advocacy is about being a champion for a cause. It is about recognizing the importance of amplifying the voices of people who receive support, family members, as well as creating space for people to self-advocate. Number 2, for each growth stage, we have a title that summarizes the intent of the stage. For example, in the leading growth stage, we see strategizes and adapts to audience. 3, within each stage, there are a series of illustrative behaviors that describe what the particular stage of performance looks like. These are not exhaustive, as they vary depending on the nature and circumstances of the employee's position. The behavioral indicators are provided only to help you better understand what each stage in the scale is about. So, if we look at the advocacy competency, in emerging stage, we see identifies factors that may impact the person, as an example behavior. So let's take a quick look at the 10 core competencies. Advocacy is about individuals demonstrating advocacy through the desire and determination to support or promote a cause on behalf of others. The ultimate goal is the person or family will advocate on their own behalf. Building relationships. Building and sustaining relationships is about intentionally collaborating to develop relationships with coworkers, families, and community partners. It is about seeking opportunities to create partnerships in collaboration with everyone to meet the mutual goal. Championing change and innovation is about being flexible and responsive to changing environments while still working professionally and effectively with various people and groups. Facilitating growth and development is about facilitating self-directed growth and development. It intentionally supports the long-term learning or development of others through coaching, recognition, encouragement, and feedback. Inclusive leadership is about organizing people and processes toward accomplishing the goal. Effective leaders foster an inclusive and positive environment. It includes the capacity for sound ethical judgment in a diverse and ethically complex work environment and in the face of ongoing pressures and constraints to continually promote excellence. Problem-solving and decision-making enables one to identify and solve problems by understanding the situation, seeking additional information, developing and weighing alternatives, and then choosing the most appropriate course of action. Resilience involves keeping one's emotions under control and restraining negative responses when provoked or faced with opposition from others or working under stressful conditions or stress. Resource management is a capacity to plan, effectively leverage and optimize resources such as people, financial resources, and technology. Strategic thinking. People who demonstrate initiative and strategic thinking take action to thoughtfully respond to current situations and are able to proactively anticipate future opportunities and challenges. Valuing equity, diversity, and inclusion involves evaluating social situations and determining what is expected or required to recognize the feelings and intention of others and to select social behaviors that are most appropriate for that given situation. Now that we've looked at all the core competencies, we want to be able to identify them when they occur. Identifying behaviors and linking them to competencies is a fundamental skill to developing and coaching for competencies. To identify the core competency, you need to understand the behavior, which is the action you see and the intent behind it. This requires observation. However, actions don't always tell the whole story. You need to be able to interpret what you see and hear in order to understand the intention behind the action. To illustrate this, imagine a server working at a diner. You see the server quickly assisting a customer. Are they rushing the customer because they want to be done their shift, or are they trying to provide good service? In order to identify the competency, you need to understand the intention. To find out why the server is demonstrating that behavior, you need to find out their intention. If the server says she is bringing the order quickly because she wants to seat another customer to be able to sell more food, she is probably demonstrating a competency related to achieving results. If she says she is bringing the order quickly because she felt the customers were upset based on their body language and they appear to be in a rush, then she may be demonstrating a competency related to interpersonal relations and respect. If she says she's bringing the order quickly because she has served this customer on several occasions and knows that they have a short lunch break, then she is likely demonstrating a competency related to customer service. To summarize, it's not enough to just focus on the actions of an individual, but you also need to consider their intent, the reasons behind their actions. By asking the person their intent, it can help assess the behavior. Your next step in learning about core competencies is to explore each specific competency. To assess your knowledge about core competencies, we encourage you to try out the Core Competencies quiz. Once you complete the quiz, we invite you to complete the Core Competency Self-Assessment. This assessment is a great tool to facilitate a conversation between you and your employer to help you determine your current competency stage and opportunities for growth. Good luck with your competency journey.